Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to day one of It Should Be Working By Now. I am so excited to be here with you today. My name is Shani Leatham. I am a transformation specialist. I'm a wealth identity mentor, and I am your host for today. I'm really excited that we are going through this process and this learning today, because this is one of the things that I hear most often when I have my consultation calls with others. Why isn't it working? I'm doing all the things. It should be working by now. So hence we're going to really talk about why it's not working. I'm going to get you to recognize what the patterns are, and we're going to make a big switch. Okay, we're going to make a big switch. So as I said, my name is Shani. I am your transformation specialist. I'm your host today, your educator today, and we're going to be talking about this. If this is your first time, whether this is your first time being on here live with me, or it's your fifth time and you're like a repeat consumer, watcher, supporter, learner, investor, maybe you're already a part of the Breakthrough Academy or one of our family, you're in our private coaching already, in our mentorship group, welcome. Welcome, because I know what it took for you to register for this. For those of you that registered, I know what it took for you to actually sign in, to click into this, to show up, to carve out some time. I understand how busy you are. I understand that you all have lives that demand you to be pulled in this direction and that direction and that direction. And so, especially if there was a part of you that was like, okay, you know what, but what if this actually is going to be the thing that finally makes sense? I'm so happy for that for you, okay? So if I had to guess, there's probably some of you that maybe has a little bit of relief, because we have these questions and sometimes we're afraid to ask the question, what am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to go? Why isn't this working? It should be working by now. My life looks the exact same that it looked 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. So, you know, you don't have to really say it, but I'm sure there's some relief right now within you for those people that have been looking for that help, okay? So you probably saw the title again, It Should Be Working By Now, and something in you went, yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. It should be. And it's in all facets of your life, in your wealth, in your relationships, in your career, in your piece of yourself, your identity. It should be working by now. I'm sure you've done a lot of work, okay? And so I know it's not like a, yes, this is great in a dramatic way. I know it's a very real and a very honest and probably a slightly annoyed kind of way. Like, I've been doing everything. I've done all the journaling, okay? And I've watched all the trainings. I've been doing everything, and I'm catching my thoughts, and I'm not new to this. I promise I'm not new to this, is what a lot of people are thinking. Yeah? Like, maybe money comes in and then it dips right on out. Maybe you have weeks where you feel on top of the world, you feel on top of everything, and then suddenly you're questioning it all over again. Maybe you're making moves and you're showing up and you're doing everything. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing, but it still feels inconsistent. And that's the part that messes with you, right? Because that was the part that used to mess with me. I would do all the things. I did what all the internet experts taught me. I did what all the books told me to do. I did all of the things, and yet it took me to understand this one particular thing for me to see a change in my life. So it's not necessarily about the doing, okay? Because I know it's not like you're actually doing nothing. You're not sitting around doing nothing. You're actually trying. You're applying things. You've changed. You've evolved, which is good, which is what you're supposed to be doing. So naturally your brain is going to say, well, what am I missing? What am I missing? And most people answer that question by doing more things, by exerting more effort. So they have more strategies and more routines and more information. Yeah? Meanwhile, the actual reason is sitting right there. It's right in front of you, and it's quietly running the whole show. It's quietly running the whole show in the background, and you have no idea. Okay? And so we're going to be getting into that over these next 2 days. And I'm really excited to teach this because this is the conversation that people don't get to have. This is the things that people don't typically talk about. Okay? A lot of people will come on here and they'll teach, and it's beautiful and loving that we have the space to teach, but they're not teaching you what you need to know. Okay? So just so you know, this isn't the polished version. I'm looking for the real version, okay? The real thing. So the one where when we actually look at it, we're looking at what you're actually thinking when things are not working. We're gonna figure that out, okay? We're gonna talk about what you're checking for, because you're always checking something. You're always checking something. You're checking your phone every single day. Okay, did you like my acting? I was a pantomime champion when I was a kid. Okay, we're gonna talk about and actually look at how you're interpreting what's happening in your life. Okay, what kind of stories are you making it mean? What kind of stories are you coming up with? And how all of that is feeding right back into the results that you keep getting. Because it's all related. Okay, so now before we get into that, I always begin every workshop with a prayer. So whether you believe or not, that's great for you. But I do believe, and I always want to make sure that I cover everyone who comes here and spends a little time with me. So if you will, Lord God, thank you so much for getting us together here today, for gathering us for our fellowship. There are some people who need some help, and I'm so grateful that you allow me to be the vessel to pour into them. None of me and all of you, I ask you to speak through my vocal cords and think through my mind. Let them find what they are looking for. It is in Jesus Christ's name I pray. Amen. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Okay, I'm ready. Okay, so now here's how today is going to go, okay? It's very warm today. Here's how today is gonna go. So for the next hour, hour and a half or so, day one is actually going to be about seeing it, okay? It's about seeing what's going on, like really, really, really seeing it. So my goal for you today is for at some point for you to say, oh, okay, I do that. Okay, I do that, yeah, I do that too. I do that too, or that's me, right? And I don't want it to be in like a shamey way. You're not blaming yourself or anything like that. It's not one of those like, shit, I've been doing it wrong type of situations. No, it's one of those, oh, I finally understand why things are the way they are, why my results look like this, why I keep doing the same thing over and over again. Okay, so we're going to get very specific with these things, and then we're going to talk about things like why you can say, I trust that money's coming in, or I know it's coming, right? When you declare it, I know the money's coming in, but then you still check your bank account 3 times a day, right? We're gonna look into that. We're gonna look to see, or maybe on the flip side, you refuse to check your bank account because you don't want the type of negativity in your life. Okay, you are perhaps unhappy, unsatisfied with the amount that you have in your account. So we're gonna look into that, okay? We're gonna look into why you can feel confident in the morning when you wake up and you make a decision to do whatever it is that you're gonna do. And then one afternoon, when things are quiet, okay? When things are quiet and you have no messages coming in and no engagement and no sales and no movement, and that suddenly turns into, oh shit, what's going on? What's going on? Okay? We're gonna look into that. We're gonna look into why you can decide, I'm not available for this anymore. I choose to be something different. I choose to live in a different way. And then you catch yourself reacting to the exact same thing 2 days later, 3 days later, 4 days later, and you're reacting to the same thing you said you weren't available for. So we're gonna look into that because I don't wanna brush past that. I don't wanna brush past that, it's important. We're gonna break it down, okay? Because in those actual moments, that's where really all of your results, where everything is being created, okay? So contrary to popular belief, my friend, it doesn't happen, like those moments don't happen when you're journaling, and they don't happen when you're saying the right things and when you're in the right mood. It doesn't happen like that. But it's in those tiny, tiny moments, those almost automatic reactions, and you don't even really notice them. You barely notice them. You might feel a thing, but you barely notice them. And so that's what we're going to slow down and look at today. Okay? And if I've done my job correctly, and I always do my job correctly, I always do my job correctly, by the end of today, you are going to know exactly where you are. Okay? And I mean, you're going to be able to pinpoint it. You're going to be able to point to it. You're going to be able to name it. You're going to be able to catch it while it's happening. Okay? And that's what we want. That's exactly what we want. So you're going to understand why your results look the way they do right now, and you're going to not have any guesswork. Wouldn't that be nice? Isn't that nice? By the way, as you are coming in, let me know where you're watching from. I love to know how far I reach. I also want to know if this is your first time watching or you've watched before. So go ahead in the comments and say hi, okay? Don't be shy. Don't be shy, don't be shy, don't be shy, don't be embarrassed. We're all here to support each other today, okay? So, where was I? Most importantly, there was something important I wanted to say. Oh, you're not going to be sitting there wondering, okay, but what do I do with this information? Because yeah, it's good that you have the information. Well, what do I do with it? Because you're already going to be feeling a pull to act differently. That's what happens. Because we're going to start the recalibration of your identity. Okay? And you're not going to do it because I told you so. Like, you're going to do it because it's obvious. Got it? And then tomorrow we'll be talking again for an hour and a half. And we're going to take everything that you saw today and we're going to change how you operate inside of it. That's important. So today is about the seeing it. Tomorrow is about the making the adjustments, correcting the behavior, okay? But for now, we're going to start with the part that most people skip. I don't know why they skip it, but they do, okay? We're going to go actually look at the things that's been running your life. I don't mean a partner. There's something that's been running your life, okay? So let's get into it. Because this is usually the part where people either feel called out in a good way, or they feel a little exposed, or maybe both. And you know what? I'm all right with that. I'm okay with that. Because I want you to, let me slow down. I want you to think about this, okay? I want you to be very, very honest. I don't want you to think about how you want it to be. I want it to be how it actually plays out in your day-to-day life, okay? So I want you to think about this. It's the morning. And you wake up and you feel good, and maybe you've had your tea or you've had your coffee and you had your breakfast and it's quiet and you've had a moment to yourself before the chaos of the day starts. You're just feeling real good, right? And maybe you told yourself in this morning, okay, you know what? The vibes are immaculate. I feel like something good's gonna happen today. Today feels a little bit different. And you feel clear and you feel very sure. You feel very certain about yourself. Like, you're in that mood, you're vibrating high, okay? And in that very moment, you believe what you've just said to yourself. It's gonna be a really good day. Like, I feel like, yeah, things are moving. They're moving in the right direction. They're going to go my way, okay? So you believe it. And then the day starts. And what do? You kind of just go into this routine where you check your phone to see like if there's any progress in something that maybe you were looking for, and there's no change. And then you start checking your email, or maybe use your phone for your email, whatever. You start checking your email and it's completely quiet. And then you look up your sales because you're a business owner or something, and there's no change in your sales. There's no movement at all, okay? And it's really, really subtle what happens, but there's something that happens in your body, okay? It's not dramatic. It's very, very, very tiny. You don't even notice the tiniest little shift in your mood and in your physiology, in your body, the way you feel in your body, because you're not spiraling out on the floor. You don't recognize it, right? But then there's this thought that slips in. And it's like, okay, well, maybe it'll happen later on in the day. Like, people are busy, whatever. You're still optimistic. It's going to happen a little bit later in the day. But then those thoughts get a little bit louder, right? You know, they say that saxophone's getting louder. Those thoughts get a little bit louder. And then you start thinking even more, well, is it just slow today? Is it a slow day? Maybe the website's down. Let me go check. Maybe the website's down. Did I do something wrong? Where is everybody? What did I forget? Should I be doing more? And then we start questioning things. And now, without even realizing it, you've gone from certainty into checking, from knowing into watching, okay? And you go from, yeah, it's gonna be a great day, I feel it, I know it, the vibes are immaculate, like I know it's happening, to, well, where is it? Why is it taking so long? What's happening? And that right there is the part that most people miss. They don't even recognize it, because on the outside, nothing looks or seems or feels wrong. It doesn't. You're still positive, okay? You're still trying to stay on track. You're not being negative in any way. There's just these little thoughts that are permeating. But internally, on the inside, something has already changed because those thoughts are getting louder, right? And so this is a part that I feel like might hit a little. That version of you, the one who's checking and waiting and quietly questioning, okay? That version of you is going to be the one that's running the rest of your day. Think about that. That version of you is going to be the one that's running the rest of your day. So now everything that comes after that comes from that place, okay? So if you use social media, which if you have a business at all, you should be using it. You post something, right? But there's a layer of you that's like, oh, well, I hope this works. I hope it goes viral. I hope, you know, like there's a lot of engagement. Yeah? Or when you go and check those numbers again, because again, you have a business and it's all about the bottom line. You go and check your numbers again, and then there's a little bit of urgency and maybe just a little bit of panic. And then when you think about money, it's not, well, of course money's coming in. It's, well, when is it coming in? Like, I got things to pay for, right? Do you notice the subtle differences, the little shift in thought? And those little shifts in thought, they affect your body, they affect your mood, they affect everything. And so I want you to hear me very clearly when I say this. That there is not a small shift, okay? It's literally a completely different way of operating. It's a completely different way of operating. So it looks normal. It looks so normal that most people don't peep it. They don't see it. They don't recognize it, right? They just think, well, okay, I just need to stay positive. It's going to work itself out. You know, things are good, things are good, things are good. Meanwhile, they've already shifted to a version of themselves who's looking for proof. Who's looking for proof before they feel safe. It's subtle. We don't recognize it, okay? So I want to take this just a step further, because maybe one of you are thinking, okay, well, yeah, I do this sometimes. But it's not sometimes, is it? It's not. If you're being really honest with yourself, okay? I want you to watch how often this actually shows up. So, in fact, I want you to go ahead and think about money. This is our favorite topic, right? Everybody loves having money. Let's talk about money. And I don't mean the idea of it. I mean actual money, like your money, how much money you have access to right now. I want you to think about it. Don't put anything in the comments or anything like that. Just think about it, okay? But I also want you to be very, very honest. How often do you check your bank account? How often do you check to see how much you have? If it's often, put a 1 in the comments. If it's not often, put a 2 in the comments. How often do you check how much you have? And there's no right or wrong answer, okay? If it's often, put a 1 in the comments. If it's not often, put a 2 in the comments. 2. Hi, Kevin. Okay. Okay. Now, do you check, like, I used to do this, okay? So, do you check your account just to see where things are at? Like, do you do it especially before a purchase? That was a behavior that I could not escape from. I could be in the store, looking up the app. What do I got? Okay, good, I can buy this. Right? That was once upon a time. Do you do quick math in your head? Like, you're like, oh, okay, if this comes in and that clears, then I'm good. Right? Do you feel a sense of relief when money comes in, when it's there, when it's landing, and then almost immediately your brain goes back to, okay, well, now what about the next thing? Okay? Because that's a pattern. And that pattern has nothing to do with money. It's just what feels normal to you. And I need you to understand, because if having money felt normal, and what I'm talking about, I don't just mean like your regular salary, when I'm talking about substantial wealth, okay? The clients that I work with, they are trying to scale from 6 to 7, 8 figures a year. So I'm talking about if having money feels normal to you, okay, you wouldn't need to keep checking if it was there. And even if you weren't earning that much, if having it felt normal to you without the thought of it fleeting, of it going away very quickly, you wouldn't need to keep checking to see if it was still there or if more is coming or until the next moment of relief is gonna hit. You know, you'd move through your day like very, very differently. Absolutely. And it would reflect in every area of your life. Every area of your life. That's certainty. Because you'd be certain in your relationships, you'd be certain about the work you do, you'd be certain about your health, you'd be certain about your wealth, you'd be certain about so many things. You'd be certain. And so then you wouldn't go and post something and then go back and check to see if anyone responded. And you wouldn't make a decision and then second guess it 3 hours later. You wouldn't do that. And you wouldn't feel high one day, you're like, ooh. You wouldn't feel high one day and then unsure the next day based on what you see, based on the evidence that's around you. Okay? So when people say, I believe it's coming, like I know it's coming, I believe it's coming, and they use the words, they talk the talk. When they say they believe it's coming, I always listen to what happens after that. That's what I'm looking for. After you say you believe what happens, I believe it. Because belief isn't what you say in the moment when you feel good, okay? It's what you default to when nothing is happening. It's what you default to when there's no change. It's what you default to when things go wrong. It's what you default to when it's quiet. That's your real belief. So what you're saying and what you're doing, are they matching? That's what I'm looking for. When I have my consultation calls, and I do free consultation calls with people who want to know more about our mentorship program and all of this stuff, I'm listening during the after. I'm listening for what happens after during our consultation calls. By the way, that's a service that I offer. I will post the link to that in the comments shortly, okay? So for most people, that is where the gap is. That's where the gap is. It's not that you don't believe at all, because I know you believe. It's just that your belief doesn't quite hold strong when it's quiet. Okay? It's not as strong as you want it to be. So now we've got to believe faster and we've got to believe harder. Okay? So when there's no movement yet, you still got to believe. When there's no confirmation yet, you still have to believe. When there's no visible reason to feel safe, you still have to believe in what it is that you want, right? And so that's why, well, that's when you oftentimes go back to what feels familiar, okay? And what feels familiar is what keeps repeating. And that's why we still have the same results over and over and over again. So when you look at your life and you think, okay, why does it still look like this? I went to school, I got my degree, I got the job, I got the house, I got the car, I did everything that I was supposed to do by societal norms. okay? According to society, I did everything the right way. Why does it not feel good? Why do I not feel fulfilled? Why is it so tough? What's happening? Okay? I don't want you jumping in that moment to, what should I do differently? Okay? I just want you to start asking, who am I being in those in-between moments? Because that's important. Who am I being in those in-between moments when nothing is happening yet? And if we're not asking that question, this type of questioning, then we won't ever see the change that we want to see. Or if you do have some momentary success, it will not last because you're going to go right back to what's familiar to you. Okay? Living the same way that you used to live over and over again. So that's what we're going to start dealing with today. I want you to catch this feeling, this person, this identity in real time. And I don't want you to do it just to fix them. Okay? We're not trying to fix anybody yet. Just to understand. Okay? And I say this, once you see it clearly, you can't go back to not seeing it. Isn't that great? You can't go back to not seeing it. And so that's where we begin to change. And so what's actually happening is a loop. We've created a loop. We don't want to be a part of this loop, but we're living part of this loop. We are hamsters on a wheel. We cannot get off. We cannot get off. We cannot get off. We are on a loop, okay? And so I want you to hear this in a very practical way. I don't mean as a concept. There's a version of you that feels normal, okay? And I don't mean your best self. I'm being my best self. I don't mean your best self. And I don't mean your future self. I just mean your actual normal. And that's the person you return to without thinking about it, without having to coax, without having to make any adjustments, okay? That one version of you has a very specific way of thinking and reacting and interpreting things, everything really around you. They have a very specific way of doing that. For example, let's say, for the purposes of most people who come to me, they want more income. We're going to talk about money again. Let's say you decide, you declare, I am making more money this month. This is it. This is the month. Done. Nothing can deter me. This is my declaration. I am making more money this month. And in that moment, you mean it. I don't know if it's because it's the start of the month and the start of the month feels fresh, new beginnings, something like that, but you're ready. This is it. You know it. You feel it in your bones. I am making more money this month. That is it. It doesn't matter what's going on around you, okay? You feel it. You're in it. And then your brain goes, okay, how is this actually going to happen? What are we going to do? What are my steps? What's the strategy? So you've made this declaration, but you have no idea how it's going to happen, right? And so then you start thinking logically and you follow it. Okay, and that turns then into, well, I don't quite know how I'm going to do this. So let me think of exercises that I could do. Again, maybe because I have a business, like we'll use me. I have a business and it requires me to be forward facing to people online. I'm going to post more. Maybe I'm going to post something else. I'm going to post something else. I'm going to post a few times extra. Okay. Maybe I need a new idea. Maybe I need something fresh, something to grab people's attention, something so that they can find me. Maybe people aren't seeing my stuff. Oh no. And so now I'm moving. I'm in motion. I'm acting like I'm doing things, but I'm not being proactive. I'm actually reacting to these thoughts of a little bit of uncertainty, of I don't know what to do. So I'm just going to throw something at the wall and hope that it sticks, right? And every time you move from that place, you reinforce something very specific within you. And that thing is, I am someone who needs to figure this out because it's not working yet. I am someone who needs to figure this out because it's not working yet. And that becomes the identity that you keep returning to. And it has nothing to do with you choosing it. I know you didn't choose this identity, but it's because you keep confirming this identity. because the thoughts are the same and the feelings are the same that accompany those thoughts, and then the actions go and accompany those thoughts. Okay, so thought by thought, reaction by reaction, and then what happens? The loop continues. Okay, the loop absolutely continues. And so you start out with who you believe you are, your identity, right? Even subtly, very, very subtly. And then that shapes, again, those thoughts that feel true to you. Yeah? And then those thoughts drive how you move. They drive the actions that you take. They drive the efforts that you exert. And then how you move gives you the results that you have. Okay? And those results match the version of you. They match your identity. And so then those results, again, they go right back to confirm, see, this is where I'm at. I'm doing everything. I'm doing all the things that I know I'm supposed to do, and I cannot get ahead. Do you recognize it? There's a version of you that's keeping you stuck. There's a version of you, an identity that you have embodied and that you've decided to live by. Whether it was an identity that was given to you by someone else or one that you've chosen to live with. And it's keeping you where you are. Okay? And so you go around over and over and over again, and this is where people get stuck. And so they try to jump into different actions. It's like you're working on a car on the outside to make it go faster, but you need a new engine. And the car's not going to go faster and it's not going to drive smoother until you fix what's going on the inside. It's the exact same thing with us. Okay? So when you're trying to jump into those different actions without realizing that those actions are still being driven by the same version of you, your identity is not going to let you progress. It's not. And so it looks like change because you're doing stuff. You're doing the most. But it's not change. You are overexerting yourself and you will get nothing but exhaustion. And you might even get a little bit of like elevation, a little bit of growth, a little bit of success, just temporarily, but it will not last. It will be fleeting because again, you're going to just come right back to who you've always been. Okay? So again, even if you have a slightly different pattern, because you're doing maybe some different activities, and we go back to the posting again, you'll post more because that's what you think you've got to do, because somebody online said you've got to post 4 and 5 times a day. It's dumb. 4 and 5 times a day, right? But you're still checking. How many people like this? Did I get any comments? Did anybody reshare it, repost it? Did anybody save it? Did they favorite it? You're still checking. You're still checking. And then you change your language. You start to be more empowering. So you're saying powerful things, you know, but you're still questioning. You're still questioning. And then you make decisions, and these decisions are supposed to be growing, expansive decisions, right? But you're still second guessing them later. Even if you don't second guess them tomorrow, down the line, you're going to second guess them. Same loop. Different outfit, different day. And I'm saying this with love, my friend, because I've seen this so many times, okay? So many times. So now I want you to catch something in yourself. I want you to catch something in yourself. Was there ever a time or a situation where you felt thrown off? Honestly, that's like a rhetorical question. I know there's been a time where you've questioned yourself or a situation where you've been thrown off. You've just been off your game, right? Maybe something didn't go the way you expected it to go. I don't know. Maybe the money that you were expecting didn't come in when you were expecting it, or it was less than what you thought, right? It was much less than what you thought. I remember that happened to me many times. I was expecting a certain income threshold to come in, a certain amount of money to come in, and it was almost always less. I was like, what the hell is going on? It was almost always less. Or maybe somebody ghosted you. I don't know. Maybe an opportunity fell through. And so you were thrown off, right? In those moments, I want you to think about this. What was your first thought? Go back and think about it just for a few seconds. What was your first honest thought? Not the corrected one, because we will try to say, okay, you know what, maybe it was this, maybe it was that after. No. What was your very first thought? Because that's your real thought, your real feeling. Was it, okay, again, well, what do I not know? What did I miss? Why isn't it working? Who the hell messed up? Because for me, with my money, somebody had to have messed up. Clearly, it wasn't me, right? Do I need to fix something? Who do I need to talk to? How can I see these new results? Because I was thrown off my game, right? That first thought tells you a lot, don't you think? It's just that we don't think about what we're thinking about. So that first thought tells you a lot, because that first thought belongs to the version of you. It belongs to a particular version of you, a version of you that has a pattern. Okay? So that version of you, you don't fully expect things to work out yet. Even though you say, I know it will, I believe it will, this is my time. You don't fully, really expect it to work out yet. You know? That version of you is still watching. That version of you is still measuring. Like, how can I do this? How can I do that? What's going on? You're still trying to figure it out. Still researching. That version of you is still perfecting. Oh, it's so exhausting. They're still taking their time. Doing all the things. You've got to do the research. Right? So even if you have powerful moments, you keep getting pulled back into that baseline. And that baseline is your starting point. This is where you are. You want to be here, but you still come back to your baseline, your starting point. And I'm having a great day, so I feel like I'm up here, but I'm just going to come back down here because somebody said something and threw me off my game. Okay? And that's why it feels inconsistent. That's why it feels inconsistent. And they feel inconsistent because you're going in and out of two different identities, two different ways of operating. It's like you're in two different minds. One of the minds, you're like, okay, this is done. This is good. I said it. I believe it. It's done. Right? What is it? And so it is. Right? I said it, and so it is. And then there's that other version where you're still trying to get there. You're still striving. You're still doing all the things to get. I'm close. I'm close. I'm close. Right? But the second one feels more familiar, and so it wins more often. Isn't that something? And so just imagine in those moments, you're actually battling yourself. You're battling yourself because both identities, they want to succeed. Both versions of you want success. You want love, and they want wealth, and they want peace, and they want health, peace of mind, and they want a struggle-free life. Both identities want that, and yet one is so used to difficulties in achieving and budgeting for every dollar, okay? And limiting beliefs and second-guessing themselves. One is so used to living that way, while the other, the new identity that you're adopting, they see a clear path. They believe that success, they believe in your immediate success. They know it's a done deal, but that identity hasn't been practiced enough. So the one that you've been living for most of your adult life is always going to be the one that wins. You gotta fight that. You gotta fight that, okay? And again, that's the loop. But I don't want you to try to break it right now. I'm just getting you to see it. I'm getting you to see it in many different ways. Because again, this is something that does not get talked about enough or at all. And once you recognize it, then you can start making changes to it, which we will definitely do tomorrow, okay? So I want you to see it so clearly that the next time it happens, you can catch it immediately. Mid-thought, mid-reaction. Be like, oh, can't say that. That happened to me, a week or so ago. I was having a conversation with my daughter. We were talking about something, and I was la 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 la. Caught myself. And it's going to be something that you consistently work through throughout your life, because you're human, you're a spirit having a human experience, and sometimes your human tries to take over. Okay? So I want you to catch it mid-reaction. I want you to catch it mid-thought, because you're going to notice, ooh, I switched for a second. Let me go on back. Okay? And that awareness alone is so good, because it interrupts the pattern, the pattern that's running automatically within you. And so while we're doing this, we're now creating new neural pathways, because your brain is neuroplastic. We're creating new neural pathways because we're adopting new thoughts or thinking new thoughts, and we're adopting feeling to it. Then we're going to embody it. So we're creating new neural pathways, which is good, because you're not a tree. You can get up and move. You can change things. You don't have to stay stuck. Okay? Now, and when that happens, you're actually going to be watching it in real time. That is so cool to me. That is so damn cool, okay? And once you're in the loop, or once you can see the loop while you're in it, let's say that, once you can see that loop while you're in that loop, you're no longer being controlled by it. You can't be completely controlled by it. And so that's where we've got to start, okay? Now, in a minute, I'm going to show you some specific ways that this shows up. And these are things that most people overlook. We kind of just chalk it up to, this is my personality, or that's them being them. Okay? But I know that you're going to recognize something, yourself in at least one of them, okay? So now that you can identify what the loop looks like, because again, I wanted you to see it. Now that you can identify what the loop feels like, and you can feel where you personally tend to slip back into it, hopefully you're there, right? We need to look at how this actually shows up in your real life, okay? And again, it's going to seem really normal. It's going to seem really, really normal. It's going to look like you being responsible. Good on you. It's going to look like you being aware of what's happening and what's happening in your life, right? Not just to you, but around you. You're going to be aware of that. It's going to look like you just checking in, staying on top of things, right? Meanwhile, that's the exact same thing that's keeping everything the same. Those things, being responsible and checking in and being aware in those ways. Those are the very things that are keeping everything the same. So let me show you what I mean, okay? Let's say, and I don't know what you all do for a living, but let's say you want to sign a new client. You want to bring in a new client, okay? And you're very clear, you're very concise, you're very sure of yourself, you feel real good. You know you've done everything that you needed to do, the ball's in their court. You've showed up, you showed out, all the information is there, there's an emotional reaction and an emotional connection, you want to sign them, okay? And so you decide, no, let's switch that. Let's say you choose to sign a new client, but you don't know where they're coming from yet, okay? You don't know where they're coming from. Let's go back to that. And so this is where you decide, I'm going to share some information. I'm going to share some information. It could be an ad, okay? Because ads for visibility. So you've created an ad, you put an ad out there, or maybe it's a post, or maybe it's a story, whatever it is, okay? Maybe you reached out to someone, maybe there's a lead, maybe you've referrals, whatever the situation is, okay? Cool. Now, what happens next in those moments? Right? What happens next? Do you leave it? Do you leave the thought and go about your day after you've done the things that you've done because you already know that it's handled? Or do you go and check to see who's viewed your story? Do you go back to see if anyone's liked it? Do you go and reread like what you posted and start thinking, maybe I should have done something different? Right? That behavior right there, that tiny moment where you've taken an action, and after you've taken an action, it tells me everything about what you actually expect. Because if you're going back to the checking, and you're going back to the searching, and you're going back to the hoping, and you're in the post and pray type of marketing, it tells me a lot. Because a person who expects that client to come in, they're not going to hover over the evidence. They're not going to do that. They know that what they've done is enough. They're not going to keep going back to see if it worked. They know that what they've done and who they are is enough. Okay? And so they move on to the next task. They move on to the next thing. Now let's talk about money. Okay? Because money is going to actually expose this type of thing very, very quickly. Let's say you get paid. You get paid, and it's a good amount too. I don't know, maybe it's a bonus. Maybe it's your tax return. It's tax season, okay? Let's say it's that, okay? So you got money coming in and you feel good. You feel relief. Because I know when money comes in, I feel real good. I feel really good, okay? So you feel good, you feel relief, you feel excited, yeah? Because you've got some extra money coming in. And because now that means that maybe you can go buy the thing that you've been eyeing that you've wanted to buy. Maybe you can go and pay down on some bills, pay down some credit cards. Maybe you can invest in that program that you've always wanted to invest in, okay? Maybe you can just, you know what, let's go out for dinner. Let's go out and check out this new place. You've got this money coming in. This is good, right? And for a moment, you're like, yeah, this is good. I said that I was going to be making more. I said that money is coming to me easily. I said that money always finds me. I've been making these declarations, and you know what? It's working. It's working, it's working, it's working. Here's the evidence. It's working, here's the evidence. Now watch what happens within the next 24 to 48 hours. Some things could happen. Do you have the immediate urge to spend that money? Do you wait? Do you relax into it, knowing that it's coming, knowing that it's here, right? Or does your brain immediately go into, okay, well, now that this money is coming in, how do I keep this going, right? What's my next move? What do we got to do? Where's the next payment coming from? Because this is good, like we're here. And then you decide, okay, great, I'm going to go back to work. I'm going to go back to work because got to keep this going, right? But when you're going back to work, you're not working from a place of certainty. You're working from a place of maintaining. You want to maintain what you've just brought in. Okay? And you want to make sure that you don't lose it. And so now you're acting from a place of scarcity. And my friend, when you're acting from a place of scarcity, you are guaranteed to live in scarcity. Because now you've put a limitation upon yourself. What if more doesn't come in? And your words are a self-fulfilling prophecy. Okay? So that's a completely different type of energy from someone who's like, well, of course more money's coming in. Why wouldn't it? Of course more is coming in. And I'm not talking about saying, of course, more money is coming in. I'm talking about the actions, the way you move, the way you believe, the way you show up, the way you connect, the way you decide, the way you are out there in the world. The way you even go and buy a drink, a coffee. Instead of buying the medium, you go and buy a large. I don't mean being frivolous, but you act from a wealth identity. You see a difference. A person who acts from a place of wealth and wealth identity, they will call in more money. They will call in more wealth. So I'm talking about how you move, because the person who expects money doesn't tighten up, okay? They don't tighten up right after receiving it. They don't subtly or suddenly feel like they got to secure the next bag. They got to secure the next thing immediately. They don't think that way. They do not think that way. I have quite a few people who are very wealthy in my life. None of them think that way. Even before they became wealthy, while they were on the come up and I was in their life and they were in mine, they never thought that way. While you're on the come up, you can't think, oh, it's going to run out. You cannot. You have to stay straight, whether it's there or not. Okay? They don't treat every payment like it's a temporary moment of relief. They don't do that. They can't do that, because having money, whether they have it or not, but having money and the idea of money and the idea of wealth, and I'm talking about substantial wealth, it is normal to them. It feels normal to them. So their behavior reflects it. Their nervous system accepts it. Okay? They know that more is coming, just like you and I know that the sun is going to rise tomorrow. It just will. It just will. Okay? They may not know how it's going to happen, but they know it's going to happen. Now let's look at another one, okay? This one kind of trips people up. Silence. Gets on people's nerves, man. It freaks people out a little bit, right? So let's say you're having a really productive day. It's such a good day. Things are going, like, you talking to everybody, your relationships are just feeling so strong and secure, your work is great, you're making good sales calls, or I don't know, things are going the way they're supposed to be going, right? It's a very productive day. The messages are coming in, the people are engaging on your posts, and people are booking the calls, right? Your calendar is filling up. Things are starting to feel really, really active, and then the next day or 2 days later, it's super quiet. Crickets. Crickets. Nothing. Silence. What do you do with that? What do you do with that? Do you stay the same? Or do you start making it mean something? Most people start to make it mean something instead of letting it just be what it is. It's a quiet day. And they start thinking, okay, well, something has to be off. Something's got to be off. Did I say something to offend somebody? Did I do something wrong? Are there rumors out there about me? Why is it so quiet today? Is it a national holiday? Start trying to explain away the situation, figure out what's happening. And then now you're trying to fix a problem that doesn't actually exist. Do you see that? You're trying to fix a problem that doesn't actually exist. So what do? You try to overcompensate. And so you start again, posting more. We're back in the loop. And you start overthinking what to say, and you send unnecessary texts. And you start watching those numbers closer again because, oh no, oh no, oh no. All because of one quiet day. One. You're having a Sunday, a quiet day. And because it happens because you're secretly afraid that that one quiet day is going to turn into 2, and then 3, and then 5, and so on and so on and so on. Meanwhile, someone is going to experience the exact same quiet, and they're just like, all right, cool. They don't even blink. They don't even blink. They do not assign meaning to it. So what are you assigning meaning to? They don't turn it into a story. They just keep moving because they get it. They know that business has ebbs and flows. Life has ebbs and flow. Same circumstance, completely different response. Okay? Completely different outcome over time. And so let's do one more. And this one is really, really subtle as well. Okay? I want to talk about decisions. Because you can make a decision, like a real one, a really, really important decision. Like, I'm raising my prices. I'm going all in on this offer. This is the decision that I'm making. I'm going to start dating again. I'm ready. Okay? I'm not going to tolerate this situation. I'm not going to live my life this way. You've decided. And in that moment, you feel really, really strong. But then a few hours later, or a few days later, or whatever, you revisit the idea, the decision, right? And you start thinking, okay, well, maybe this is a little too much. Or maybe I'm being too much. Am I being too much? What if people don't go for it? Maybe I should ease into it instead of like just jumping in with both feet, right? Balls to the wall. So now the decision that you've made is no longer a firm and solid decision. It's become negotiable. And every time you do that, you're teaching yourself something. You're teaching yourself that I don't fully back what I choose. And therefore, I don't trust myself. Do you see that? And so even then, your decisions won't stick because you become you become unreliable. You become unreliable to others, but worst of all, or more importantly, you become unreliable to yourself. And so when you decide to do a thing, you don't think it's really going to happen because you're not reliable. Do you see how this all connects? It's not a random thing. Like, it's not that things aren't working sometimes, but it's that in these moments, in these very specific, very normal moments, you return to that version again. You return to that version of you who's still watching, and you're still checking, and you're still adjusting based on what you see or don't see. You're relying on the evidence instead of relying on yourself. You're relying on the validation. Not realizing that manifestations are always delayed. Always delayed. There's a reality in which whatever it is that you decide that you want, it's done. It's just going to take some time to get to you because you have to match the vibration. You have to match the identity. You have to become the person you need to be so that it can live with you. You can step into that reality. So it's always delayed. And so you say, oh, it doesn't work. Why is this happening to me? And then because that feeling again feels familiar, you keep going back to it. Over and over, the hamster wheel. And so when you look at your result again and you think, why is this not like a consistent stream? Why isn't it not a consistent stream? I want you to start there. I want you to start looking there, okay? I want you to look after the decision. I want you to look after the action. I want you to look after the moment you felt good, okay? Because then what did you do next? Remember I told you the after. That next is what shapes everything. It's what shapes everything. And once you see how often this is happening, and I'm sure you're starting to get it by now, because I'm trying to reinforce it in many different ways. But once you see how often this is happening, it becomes very hard to blame anyone other than yourself. And I don't mean like in a really bad, dramatic way, okay? Like, just, okay, I see my part in this. I get it. I understand. Because then that's really powerful. That's really, really powerful. And because now you're not guessing anymore. You don't have to figure anything out. You're looking directly at the patterns that you're creating in real time, currently. That's good, okay? So in this next part, I'm gonna show you something even more important. I actually want to talk about the behaviors that we call normal, okay? But they're actually just confirmations of a very specific version of you. And once you see that version of you, then I think more things are going to start to click. Okay, so now I want to take everything that we've just understood, everything that we just saw, and I want to connect it to who you've actually been being inside of it. Okay, so this is where you're gonna go from, okay, yeah, I do this sometimes, to, okay, well, yeah, this has been my pattern. Because it's not a sometimes thing, it's a pattern because it's an identity thing. And the only way for us to break the pattern is to change the identity. Okay, so understand this. And hell, you probably even relate to this, okay? Most people are not living the version of themselves who has what they want. You know that, right? They're not living as the version of themselves who have what they want. They're living as the version of themselves who is almost there. They're living as the version of themselves who's still waiting for it. They're living as the version of themselves who will be. Like, I will be successful. I will be wealthy. I will be rich. I will be a writer. I will be this. I will be that, instead of I am. There's a big, big difference. And so that version has very specific traits. They're very informed. Okay, they're informed. That version is aware, and that version has done a lot of work. Okay, that version has done a lot of work, but they're still scanning and still processing. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? They're still measuring. They're still trying to figure things out as you go along, and to an extent that's not terrible, but if that's attached to the old identity, then that's not good. Okay, so let me show you what I mean. The person who's got the almost there version, okay, the almost there version, they're going to set a goal, and then they're going to mentally track how close or how far they are from that goal all day. All day. What does that look like? Okay, so I just need 2 more sales. I need 2 more sales, I'll hit my target. Or if I get this done by Friday, I'll be on track, right? Just tracking. They're constantly calculating their progress. And it has nothing to do with how organized they are, because they're organized people. They're very, very organized, but it's because they don't feel done yet. They don't feel accomplished yet. The almost there version of you almost always negotiates with yourself. You negotiate with yourself, and you do it in subtle ways. You'll say, I feel good about this. I feel really good about this, or I will feel good about this. When that happens, I'll feel really safe when this happens. I'll relax when it picks up. I'll feel calm when money comes in. I'll feel successful when I get the job. It's always attached to something. So your peace and your confidence is always slightly delayed. It's always tied to something outside of you. And it's tied to something outside that you have to catch up to it first. Okay? But what happens if that thing takes a really long time to occur? A really long time to materialize? So then your peace and your relaxation and your feeling good and your calmness and your success is going to be on hold too? That's what it is with the almost there. Now the other version of you shows up too. There's another version that shows up too. That's the person who's always figuring it out. Okay? This person always looks like they're in control. Just, I'll figure it out. Don't worry. I got it. I got this. I'll figure it out. They really look like they're always in control, but actually they're always in response mode, which to me is just a cousin of survival mode. Okay? They will consume a piece of content, and then they immediately think, okay, well, maybe that's what I need to do. And then they try to make their own version of it, right? They copy the recipe, but they don't have the same flavor. Okay? Or they'll see somebody else doing something, right? And then they'll quietly wonder, am I missing something here? Like, why are they doing that? Why are they seeing results in that way and I'm not? What do they know that I don't know? Right? Start asking those questions, or constantly adjusting your direction based on what you see around you. So yeah, you're trying to figure it out, but you're topsy-turvy. You're like on a spindle, like literally a top. You know those Beyblades tops? You're on one of those. You're constantly spinning, trying to find the direction, to find the right way, to make it make sense. And it's not because that person lacks intelligence. In fact, they're very, very smart. But that they haven't fully decided that their way is enough. So they're always looking for another way, another strategy, another lesson, another thing that they can do, another thing that they can consume, another thing that they can enjoy, another thing that they can save. And so they're always in movement, always in motion, but never fully rooted in anything. Okay? That person believes that it can happen, but they don't trust that it will, at least for them. Okay? And then there's that person who needs the constant reassurance. Oh, I know a few people like that. They need constant reassurance. And really, this one doesn't look like checking numbers and metrics or anything like that, right? They're just, sometimes it's more of an internal thing with a person who needs more reassurance. It's more of an internal thing. So they will replay conversations in their mind all the time, in their head. They'll just go over that. Did that sound right? Should I have said that? Ooh, maybe I should have said this. Do you think they understood what I meant? Right? Was that too much? Maybe I should go this way. Maybe I should go that way. Constantly in their head, constantly in their head. And so, or maybe they share something that's super, super bold and outrageous, and then they soften it later because it didn't feel right. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Let me dull it down. Let me dull my shine, right? Or they'll add a disclaimer because they're looking for constant reassurance, and they're going to explain themselves again, right? They justify their actions all the time. All the time. They try to make sure that they didn't come across as wrong. And they're constantly making sure that they are okay. Looking for reassurance all the time. Making sure that they're still accepted and making sure that they didn't overstep. You know? They apologize all the time. All the time. For things that have nothing to be, they have nothing to be sorry for. And that constant need to confirm it chips away at their certainty in real time. Like, I was so sure of this, but I'm not sure anymore. And then you know what they do? They ask people for help. And nothing's wrong with asking for help. It's a strong measure of a person to ask for help, but they're asking for help because they don't trust themselves. Okay? They don't trust themselves. Do you see how specific that is? Do you see it? It's not personality. It's not just who you are as a person. These are practiced ways of being. You've been practicing this. If you are a person who requires reassurance often, you've been practicing this for most of your adult life. It's repeated over and over again until it feels normal. And you don't even realize, this is how I'm being, this is how I'm showing up in this world, this is how I'm presenting myself. So if you can digest this concept, then things are going to change for you. You don't get what you want you don't get results based on what you want. You get results based on what feels normal for you. Based on what feels normal for you to experience. So if it feels normal for you to constantly track, then you're going to keep chasing your progress. If it feels normal for you to adjust all the time, you're never going to feel settled in your direction. If it feels normal for you to consistently seek reassurance, you're always going to second guess yourself. Okay? And it's got nothing to do with you. It's nothing against you, right? It's just because you keep returning to that same version of you who expects that. You expect that because that's how it's always been. That's just how it is. That's just my life. And that's the loop. Okay? That's the loop over and over and over again. So even when you have powerful moments, they won't stick. They won't stick. They can't stick because your default keeps pulling you back. It says, hey, B, get over here. And you're like, but no, I'm trying to elevate and I'm trying to be somebody, not better, but I'm trying to be who I should be and who I was destined to be. I want to be the 2.0, the 10x version of me. No, come back. It's familiar over here. Right? You know your brain will never seek success. Your brain does not seek joy. It does not seek wealth. It does not seek love. It seeks what's familiar. Even if what's familiar is painful. Because it's what you've been practicing and it's what you've been accepting. And then it looks for proof that, yeah, shit's hard. Okay, your wish is my command. Here, let me give you some things that show you that shit's hard. And so that new identity, that new thing that you want, it's tougher to get to because you have allowed the old identity to hold you back. It's just what it is. It's just what it is, okay? Now, I don't want you just listening and thinking, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense. Because it does make sense. I know it makes sense. I make sense. I just want you to catch it when it happens. I want you to catch yourself in it. It's so important. So this is what we're going to do, okay? I want you to think of one thing right now. And I want you to be very, very specific. And again, because I'm a wealth identity mentor as well as a transformation specialist, and a lot of people come to me to help scale their income, we're going to talk about money, okay? Actually, we can talk about it. It could be money. It could be a client, whatever you want. Think about anything, okay? It could be a certain number. It could be a situation that's resolving itself. Think about it, okay? Got it? Now, I want you to walk yourself through your actual pattern. Not the ideal pattern, okay? The honest pattern. When you think about the thing that you want, whether it's more money, it's a new client, it's a new home, it's a new car, it's a new relationship or a stronger relationship, maybe it's time to walk away from the relationship that you have, different career, better lifestyle, whatever it is. When you think about what it is that you desire, what is the first thought that follows? What's the first thought that pops up? Is it, I really want this, but it would be nice? Is it, I don't think I can get it? Is it, you know what, hell yeah, this is a done deal. It's a done deal, right? Or is it, okay, well, when is it going to happen? If you're honest, chances are, or how is it going to happen? That's going to be your thing. It's usually the second one. How is it going to happen? This is what I want, but I don't know how it's going to happen. So how is it going to happen? Now, I want you to go one step further, okay? After you have that thought, what will you do? How am I going to make it happen? Well, what do you do? Chances are you might devise a plan. You might start doing a few things to ensure that you're working towards it. Then you're going to start checking your progress. You're going to track it. You're going to micromanage it. Hopefully you don't micromanage it. It's akin to planting a seed, watering it, putting it at the light, like letting it get light and going back every hour to check to see if the leaf sprouted. Are you going to adjust something if it's not coming as quickly as you want it to? Are you going to look for reassurance or validation from someone or something or somewhere? What are you going to do? Or are you going to move like it's already handled? This is what I've decided. These are the actions I'm going to take. It's done. And then the last part is, when you think about it, how does it make your body feel? Now imagine that you have what it is that you want, okay? Or you're so close to getting what you want. How does it feel within your body right now? Do you feel tense? Do you feel alert? Do you feel excited? Do you feel relief? Do you feel like you need to stay on top of it? Because that feeling is your baseline. That feeling is your baseline, and your baseline is what feels normal. Okay? Your baseline is what feels normal, and it's what keeps getting recreated. That's why do you get it? Do you see it? So it doesn't get recreated in the moment where you feel powerful. When the idea comes to you and you're like, ooh, this is a good idea, baby, it's going to change my life. And it's going to change the lives of other people because I am the one. I'm going to be the first millionaire in my family, or I'm going to be the next millionaire who changes the legacy. Right? It doesn't get recreated in those powerful moments. It gets recreated in the moment that follows those powerful moments. Follows when you felt powerful. Follows when you felt empowered. Follows when you felt sure and certain. Okay, so this is what I want you to start paying attention to after today. That's it. And that's your only assignment for today. You know, if you've been on any of my workshops, I tend to give out work. I tend to give out homework where you've got to write things out, do some mind work, do some introspective work. All I want you to do today is pay attention to what you do. Okay? Pay attention to what you do after this live. Okay? I want you to catch that moment of after. So if you're going to make a decision, catch what you do after you decide. Okay? After you post whatever it is that you post on social media, if you do that. After you check, you checked your progress. Okay? After nothing happens, what do you do? What do you think? What's the physiology? What's the mindset behind that? And then I want you to take notice, like, what story did I give this? What did I just make this mean? Okay? What did I assume? What did I assume to be true? And then, how did I just move because of that? What were my actions because of that? Okay? You don't need to fix anything. You don't worry about fixing anything. You don't need to change anything yet. I just want you to catch it. I want you to write it down. I want you to notice it. Just catch it, okay? You can do that. And once you start seeing your loop as it's happening, and it's gonna be something that you will notice, but you've got to be very intentional about paying attention, okay? Intentional about paying attention, okay? You're gonna stop being unconsciously run by the loop, because that's what's causing you to have the results that you have, whether they're great results, whether they're results that could be improved upon. That's what causes you, and that's what's blocking your progress. So, and really, this is where everything starts to open up. It starts to open up for you, and like, we're not even changing anything yet, okay? We're not even changing anything yet. So I know you could probably feel something, which is good. And that awareness alone is really, really good. I just want you to be aware. So tomorrow we're gonna take that exact pattern, and I'm gonna show you how to step out of that pattern on purpose, okay? I don't want it to be just a momentary thing. It's going to be a new way of operating. How am I doing on time? Okay. But for now, I just want you to start watching. I just want you to watch, because you're going to see you're going to see yourself everywhere in this. Okay? And so we're almost done for the day. At this point, you might be thinking, okay, I see it, I get it, I recognize it, I can catch it. This is good. So I'll just stop doing it. I see it, I'll stop it, right? It's like, I can stop smoking cold turkey. All right? You're going to recognize it. You're going to say that. And that makes sense, because that's going to be your natural response. Well, if there's a problem, I'm going to fix the problem. If I'm doing something wrong, I'm going to stop doing the thing that's wrong. That's a natural response. I understand. You notice that's a pattern, so you try to correct the pattern, right? It's just what we do. It's our human nature. I get it. But here's the thing that's frustrating, because you've probably tried to stop and break the pattern before. You just didn't realize what you were trying to break. You're trying to change the situation. You've done it before. What the hell? How many times have you caught yourself thinking that something, and you're like, nope, I'm not doing that. I'm not thinking that. La, 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 la. Change the thought, change the thought, change the thought, right? And then you try to replace it with something better. I've done that many times. Many, many times. You probably had moments where you felt so sure of yourself. You felt so sure, like, this time is different. It's like the New Year's resolution. January 1st has come, and you're like, yes, new beginning. This time is different. For me, it was like when the lottery was high, I'd go buy a ticket. I just knew I was going to win. I just knew I was going to win. I haven't won yet. I haven't won yet, but you get the idea, right? I just knew. I just knew. And so for a few hours, maybe even for a full day, you're solid, you're secure, you're certain. You felt sure about yourself. You were calm. You were decided. You were unbothered. Nothing could bother you, right? And then, as life would have it, something small happens. Something happens, or maybe it doesn't happen. And then you feel that little shift again. And then there's a little drop. And then there's that quiet hum. And before you even realize it, you're back in that same pattern as before. It happens so quickly. You're checking, you're thinking, you're adjusting. And so now, of course, you're annoyed. Because you're like, how the hell did I get back here? Why am I back here again? I literally just decided that life was going to be different. That things were not going to be the same. That I was going to be different. Why am I struggling to make ends meet? This year was supposed to be different. Why does making money have to be so damn hard? I'm doing everything they said I was supposed to do. Why isn't this working now? Why isn't it working by now? This should be working by now. So let's talk about that. Because this is the part where people start blaming themselves. Right? But they start to blame themselves with a positive spin. They think, okay, I'm just going to do mind over matter, mind over matter, mind over matter. I need to stay focused. Just stay on task. I need to stop going backwards, right? Meanwhile, that's not even the issue. The issue is you're trying to operate in a way that doesn't feel natural to you yet. It doesn't feel natural to you yet. So of course you don't stay there, right? So let's say, for instance, you decide to do something. I don't know, it's bold, it's outrageous, it's gonna change your life. You're in your room, okay? I want you to picture yourself. This is at night, okay? Before you go to bed. You're in your room, it's quiet, you're starting to feel sleepy, but you're in your own space, the bed is comfy, right? And you make a decision because your thoughts are going. And this is the time just before you fall asleep where your subconscious mind is susceptible to whatever it is that you give it. So you make a decision and you say, F it, that's it. I'm done living like this. I'm going to be this person. I'm going to live like this. Things are changing. Boom. This is it. This is it. And this is the last thought you have before you go to bed. Okay? Maybe it's I'm starting a business. Maybe it's I'm going for my $1 million year. Okay? I'm running that marathon. I'm switching careers. I don't know. Whatever it is. I'm falling in love this year. I don't know. Maybe I'm fixing a relationship. My relationships this year. You decide and you mean it. And in that moment, there is no doubt and you go to sleep. Okay? And you feel good and you're sleeping. And as you go to sleep, you're like, okay, watch, watch, watch. Okay? And then for a few days pass, or maybe a few weeks pass, whatever. And then you're back in your regular mental space, in the same environment that you were in before. And so you've got the same phone and the same bank account and the same messages and the same responsibilities and the same relationship status. And so nothing on the outside is actually caught up with the decision that you made yet. Okay? And so then your brain goes, but we're still here. I made this decision, but we're still here. Nothing has changed. What's going on? And so now you have two things happening at once. Okay? You have two things happening at once. You've got the version of you who's decided, and you have the version of you who recognizes your current reality. What do? Dun, dun, dun. Right? That second one, the one that recognizes your current reality, that one's more familiar because you've practiced that version longer. You've lived that version longer. So when they speak, it's more believable. Okay? And it's not believable because it's true. It's believable because it's what you've practiced. It's what you've rehearsed over and over again. The same thoughts that you allow to come back into your mind. We think 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. And then we have our reticular activating system, which is our filter, which has us focusing on the same thoughts over and over and over again. And so we're thinking the same thing 95% of the time. It's rehearsed. It's practiced. Okay? So when that version of you says, okay, but we need to figure this out, you listen. And just like that, you're back in the freaking loop again. You're back in the damn loop again. And the same thing happens after you feel really, really good. You listen to something, or you have a breakthrough, or I don't know, you just finish doing whatever you do and you feel really motivated, right? You feel motivated and you feel powerful and you feel sexy and you feel strong and you're like, wow, I get it now. I get it now. And then all of a sudden you walk differently. You got a different kind of swagger. You think differently. You talk different. You feel different. You show up in a different way. Your vibe is vibing. There's no words to explain just how oomph you are. And then later that day you get an email. or you get a text message that you weren't expecting, or someone says something that throws you off, or a troll starts trolling. If you're on social media like I am, trolls, they troll. And then that old reaction shows up again. It's so quick and automatic. Before you even have time to go, wait, now you're sitting there like, what the hell just happened? What the hell just happened? Like, I thought I was past this. This is what happened. And so you weren't past it. You just weren't in front of something that triggered you yet. And that's the difference. That's the difference. So when people say, why can't I stay in this energy? I'm up and I'm down, I'm up and I'm down. Why can't I follow through? It's because that way of operating isn't your default yet. You gotta make it your default, right? It's just something that you visit, that new way of operating. It's just like, hey, how you doing? Hey, you wanna be me for a little bit? All right, I gotta go. It's you touch it, you experience it. But you don't live in that place. You don't live there yet. Okay? And so anything that you don't live in, you don't return to consistently. You always go back to what feels normal every time. So I want you to think, what feels normal to you? Because this has nothing to do with trying hard enough. Absolutely not. Or being disciplined enough, or knowing enough. It's got nothing to do with that. But it has everything to do with what your system is used to returning to. I have been rich and I have been poor. I have been poor more times than I have been rich. I have found a way to never be in the spirit of or physical realm of poor again. I now live in the overflow. I had to create her. I had to practice being her. I had to switch my identity and embody this new identity. But poor kept trying to pull me back as I was in the moment. But now that I understand, I will never be broke another day in my life. In fact, I don't even use poor and broke to describe me. Not at all. Not at all. I never would. Because I now live in the overflow. Abundance is my birthright. It's my ministry. This is where I live. The household motto is do well so you can do good. So I must do well. I must do well financially so I can do even more good in the world. So I can come on here and do these free workshops. And not have to worry about being at the office all the time. Or at school, or wherever. I had to create and convince myself that I was this person, and then reality caught up to me because I kept practicing her. Do you get it? Do you see? Okay? So even if it feels normal to you, I've got the window open and the dog is going. Let's say this is your normal. You double check things typically. If you double check things, you're always going to double check them. Okay? If you second guess things, you're always going to revisit your past decisions. Always, always, always. If you're always looking for confirmation or validation, you're always going to keep scanning for proof. Even when you know better. Even when you know better. So that's why knowledge hasn't changed anything. You can know all the things that you want. It's because you're not dealing with the information. You're not dealing with the information. You have the information. You've saved the posts. You're watching the workshops. You're doing nothing about it. You have to deal with the information. But you're dealing with familiarity. That's what's happening. And again, familiarity is so powerful. Even if you don't like it. Even if you don't like the space that you're in. It's the devil you know. So you stay there. It's like you vote for the same person. You know they're terrible for you, but you vote for the same person. You vote for the same situation. It's familiar. You know what you're getting. You go to a restaurant and you always order the same thing. There's so many things on the menu, but you stick to what you know. It's familiar. That's how it shows up. And when you do that in those little things, you're going to do them in these big things too. And that's why success seems so fleeting. That's why the wealth seems just out of reach. That's why the quality relationship that you deserve to be in, you see it, but you can't quite meet it. Because it's not familiar to you. You have to make it familiar to you, even before there's evidence of it being there. Okay? Because familiarity, it will override your best intentions every single time. It will override your best intentions every single time until something changes it at that level. So when you catch yourself going back into that loop, and I keep talking about the loop, I don't want your reaction to be, ugh, I'm doing it again. Okay? Why does this keep happening to me? I hear Tyrese when I say, why is this happening to me? I don't want that to be your reaction, okay? I just want it to be, well, okay, of course this is happening. This is what I'm used to. Of course this is happening. This is what I'm used to. It's very different energy. It's very, very different energy. One creates frustration and the other one creates understanding. So when you say, okay, of course this is happening. This is what I'm used to. This is the behavior that I'm used to displaying. These are the patterns that I've been stuck in. Okay, great. Now you can start to jump out of it, right? And by recognizing that this is where you are, right? Because from that place you can create change. You're not creating change by forcing yourself to think better. You're recognizing that I've been practicing this version of me for a long time. And if that's true, then it also means, drum roll, this is good, that something else is true. It means that you can practice being different. You can practice being different, okay? So when you do that consistently enough, it becomes the thing that you return to. Like I said, I've been rich and I've been poor. I've been poor more times than I've been rich. But I always return to wealth. I always return to rich. Because I've been practicing it long enough. And it was hard. It was hard. I needed mentorship to help me with that. I had paid mentorship to help me with that. Okay? So give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace. Okay? Because again, now that you see the loop, how are we doing for time? Now that you see the loop and you understand why it's pulling you back, you can finally talk about stepping into something else, okay, on purpose. And that's going to be as your new normal. So now the real question becomes, what do you actually do? Okay? What do you do in the moment that this is happening? Like when it's actually happening, when you feel it, okay? When you check your phone and there's nothing there, what are you doing when you look at the numbers again and they haven't moved? When you put something out and it hasn't gone viral, oh no, because everyone's stuck in 200 people views jail, right? What do you do in that moment? Because that's where this either continues or it starts to go in a different way. And so the truth be told, most people miss it. They miss it. And they don't miss it because they don't care. They miss it because it happens so fast. Because it's automatic. It's a part of their being. It's a way of their being, right? And it looks like this. Okay, so you're going to check. You're checking. Remember, we're back to checking and you see nothing. Okay? And then within a second, your brain goes, okay, how do I fix this? Nothing's happened. How do I get more eyes on me? How do I get more views? How do I get more customers? How do I get more income? How do I get the response that I want? How can I get the person on the dating app to respond to me? Right? And you're already in motion trying to force an outcome. You're trying to fix the situation so quickly. You didn't even realize it. You didn't even realize that there was a moment that you could choose. Because it just felt so automatic. So you've got to slow it down, okay? You've got to slow it down. Let's say, for instance, you're expecting to be paid for work that's completed. I don't know what you do for a living, but you're expecting to be paid for work that's been completed. You sent out the invoice. You know it's supposed to come in by a certain time. It's supposed to come in soon, okay? But you're not exactly sure when. So you check your account. You didn't get a notification, but you check your account. You're going to check it again anyway, because it's supposed to come in between now and in the week. No new money. It's not there yet. What do we do? And instantly, it's like, okay, I need to make something happen today. I need to make more money today because you're relying on that payment. And now you're in a state of urgency. You're in a state of mild panic. And you're moving and it's tight. And so the work that you end up doing to rectify the situation is full of tension, and it shows because you're being reactive. You're reacting, okay? Here's another one. Let's say you send a message, okay? Or you make an offer. You make an offer to go out. Yeah, you make an offer to go out, and you put yourself out there because this is the year I'm outside, baby, okay? And then silence. There's no response yet. I mean, have they not seen the pictures? Have they not been looking? Like, you are amazing to look at, okay? You've got it going on. And so then your brain drags, right? It goes on, it's like, oh, did I say too much? Because you made the offer to go out, right? Did I say too much? Should I follow up? Is this weird? Am I being weird? Was that weird? Was that weird? And now you're shrinking just a little. Just a little. Your confidence has wavered just a little. You're starting to feel less than enough, just a little. And you're pulling back your certainty. You were certain enough to go and offer the date. But it's pulling back your certainty, just a little. And that right there, that split second after you notice nothing yet, no response, that's the moment. That's the moment. And they make it mean that it's not working yet, or I'm not desirable. And then they move accordingly. Now that person could have just been offline. That person could have been at work. That person could have been out of town. That person could have been in the hospital. And we made it mean something. Okay? So another option is this. And I want you to hear this because it's simple, okay? Because it's probably not what you're used to. But let's say in that exact same moment, you check in again. You're checking, and there's nothing there. There's no change, okay? Instead of going into what does this mean, what if you paused? Like literally pause, fall back, take a moment, slow down. And then you notice what your brain is about to do. Because you've been there before, you've been living there. You notice what your brain is about to do. And you catch the, okay, now what do I do? You catch it, okay? Instead of following that, what am I supposed to do? You decide something on purpose. You decide to do something on purpose, not based on what you see, but based on what you've already chosen, on the decision that you made. So it sounds like, okay, no, I'm not doing that because I've already chosen this. I've already decided that this is happening, so that's what it is. And then you move on. What if you shift it in that way, right? And so then you don't fix the post. You don't edit it. And you don't go and create something else out of pressure. And you don't send the apology text. Oh my gosh, I don't know what it was a mistake, it was a typo, whatever. You don't start apologizing for things that you don't need apologizing for. You don't start looking for what's wrong, okay? You return to what you've decided before you checked the outcome, before you checked for the result. Just go back to that. That's it. That is it, okay? And I'll tell you this, that's gonna feel very unnatural at first. It's gonna feel real strange, because it's not what you're used to. You might even feel a little delusional, but you know we believe Delulu is the Salulu around here, okay? It's because your brain is gonna say, okay, but we literally don't see anything yet. I said the money was coming in. We literally don't see anything yet. What do you mean I'm getting paid today? What do you mean I'm a millionaire? Because that's what you decided, right? What do you mean I'm a millionaire? There's no money in my account. What do you mean I'm getting paid today? There's no money in my account. And that's fine. It's expected. Okay? It's expected. Because remember, your brain is used to responding to what's in front of it. Actually, your brain is used to responding to what's in front of you. Your brain is used to responding to what it sees, to the evidence. It's going to be adjusting based on that evidence. So when you don't do that, it's going to feel off. When you don't adjust based on what you see, it's going to feel strange. You're creating a new normal. It's part of the new identity. Okay? And it doesn't mean that it's wrong. Okay? It just means that it's different than what you've practiced. We're practicing something new. Now I want you to think about something that you've tried to manifest for lately. Okay? And then we're done. I want you to think about something that you've been trying to manifest lately. You're hoping for it. Maybe you're thinking it's on the way, like you're feeling good, like you're talking yourself into believing it, okay? Because that's what we do. You're actively raising your vibrational state because that's helpful, okay? Although you can manifest when you're in a bad mood. But you've saved posts from all the internet experts, right? You're hoping to DIY bits and pieces of what they've said and they've said and they've said and they've said it, and all this advice into results, okay? You're doing all the things, and you've checked your progress and you didn't see what you wanted just yet, but you're manifesting for the thing. So maybe it's today that you've done that. I don't know. Maybe it was yesterday, whatever it is. Okay. Now walk yourself back into that exact moment when you're checking your progress and you don't see what you want to see yet. Okay. What did you immediately make it mean? I know you made it mean something, so don't lie. What did you immediately make it mean? And what did you do next? Okay, just think about that. You don't have to write anything down. Now, I want you to go back into that same moment again, where you're thinking about the thing that you're trying to manifest, okay? But this time you catch yourself when you don't see the results. You catch yourself right before you're about to react. Right before you're about to get salty. Right before you're about to give up. Right before you're about to say it doesn't work. Right before you're about to try to change the strategy. Catch it. And then I want you to decide with conviction that I'm not going to that place. I'm not going there. I already chose what I chose. I said what I said. I chose what this is. My manifestation is a done deal. And then feel the difference. You can literally feel the difference between before and this. Okay? The difference is slight, but it's powerful. And you need to be in a state of empowerment as much as you can be. And you know why it's powerful? Because in that moment, you didn't let the situation decide for you. You didn't let the situation decide for you. You decided who you were going to be in that situation. And so that's where things change. It's not in the big declarations or the long routines and la 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 la, none of that. Right there in those small, those quiet moments that happen all day long. Okay? Now, can you do that once? Yeah. Can you do it twice? Probably. But can you do it consistently? Okay? When life is happening, when things feel real, when old patterns are loud, when shit hits the fan, what do you say? What do you say? When the saxophone gets louder, can you do it consistently? Okay? That's a different conversation. And that's why most people are not seeing lasting change. Okay? Because they don't get it. I know that you're starting to understand it. Maybe they do get it, but they don't sustain it. Let's say that. They visit it and they try it out for a while. And, you know, what I believe about trying is people will say they'll try until an obstacle comes up, and then they say, okay, well, I tried. Instead of, I will keep going until, persist until, right? These people, they don't live in this place long enough for it to feel normal. So that's what they get. And that's what we're going to go into tomorrow. I'm going to teach you how to make it normal. Okay? Because we're not just going to catch the moment. We're actually going to build a version of you who responds to it. We're going to respond to this as your new default. You need a new default, and it's going to be without effort, and it's going to be without the back and forth of the old identity and the new identity, okay? But for today, I'm going to say that's enough, because I even went over time. I just want you to start noticing the moment. Catch it, okay? Catch it, pause, and then decide before you react, okay? That alone will show you exactly how often you've been giving your power away without even realizing it. And once you see that, you cannot unsee it. Okay? So this was day one of, it should be working by now. I almost forgot what this thing was called. It should be working by now. There was a lot to process. There was absolutely a lot to process, but you should see it. You should be able to see the version of you that's holding you back. You should be able to see the patterns that you, in particular, host, live by, live with, live through, that's keeping you from progressing, or progressing, however you want to say it. You need to see it. So when we're done today, I want you, whenever you come up with a decision, you decide to do something, dinner, whatever it is, think about it. Catch yourself in the moment. And just be like, oh, this is my pattern. This is what I do. This is how I've done it. Have I always been doing it this way? And don't feel bad about it. It's actually good. It's good for you to recognize it, because tomorrow we're going to change it. We're going to create new behaviors. We're going to create a new default. Okay? So I will see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. And tomorrow I will post, what will I do tomorrow? No, I'll post it right here. If you want to book a consultation call with me, I do free consultation calls for about 30 minutes as a Zoom call. We can start talking. If you have any questions about what we've talked about here today, or if you want to talk about the mentorship program, if you want to talk about how you can shift your identity, which we will go in a lot about tomorrow, we can start the conversation. You can book a call. It's posted in the comments. But otherwise, I will see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. It is going to be another jam-packed day, but it's going to be an impactful day, because I want you to not just have information, I want you to do something with it. I want you to apply it so that you can create the life that you want to create. And so that you will no longer be saying, it should be working by now. You're going to be like, oh, that shit worked. That shit worked. Okay? So I will see you all tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. I'm super, utterly grateful. With gratitude and love, I'm Shani Leatham. Bye.